Good day, and welcome to this presentation entitled Work Stress in the Technology Sector, Prominent Stressors and Modern Research. My name is Kyle Kendrick with Liberty University Psych 716, and today we'll be going over some of the stronger work stressors that a lot of technology workers are seeing today that are causing a lot of issues with their work and their overall performance. Now, as we know, technology is here, it's here in a big way, and it's growing exponentially. From smartphones, tablets, wearables, computers, everything is going to the internet and everything is getting connected to one another. It's expected by the year 2025 that there will be over 75 billion devices that are connected to the internet at any given time. It's incredible. Now, of course, there are people that are responsible for making sure that this happens and continues to happen in a safe manner. And they are under constant stress to make sure that this is the case. From connectivity, assuring that the world of the internet and the world of technology keeps on spinning, to security, assuring that the bad guys are at bay, to maintenance, fixing problems when they arise, and creation, coming up with the newest, latest, greatest item that we can work with and enjoy. These people are under constant stress, and there's a lot that is causing issues, and we're going to take a look at what some of those are. Now, because technology is so ubiquitous in our lives, it never stops. We expect to have it accessible and with us at all times, and for businesses to maintain a competitive advantage, downtime is not an option. This often means that technology workers are expected to be on call, beck and call, 24/7, days, nights, weekends. When I was a network engineer for a pharmacy company, we had a data center go down at 2 o'clock in the morning. I get my alerts, I get in my car, and I drive 2 hours away to go fix this data center at 2 o'clock in the morning because downtime was not an option for us to maintain our competitive advantage in the marketplace. Now, of course, this is a specific example, but if this continues for days, weeks, or even months at a time, serious fatigue can set in. Emotional fatigue and mental fatigue is very prominent. And what we know about that type of fatigue, it is a hindrance and it's not beneficial to the company in any way. It can lead to cognitive errors, decrease in job performance, and even employee safety. Now, one recent study saw that by giving control back to the workers, they were able to do a couple things. They were able to reduce the mental fatigue and increase worker performance. Now, what this meant was they were able to basically give the workers more control and have them have more flexible schedules when they wanted to work, where they could work from, making sure they were still, of course, living up to their part of the psychological contract and the contracts that they signed as well, but giving them more of the control. And this actually reduced a lot of the self-reported mental fatigue and increased performance overall. Another study on a more biological and neurological level showed actual lower cortisol or stress hormone levels. And they were able to see that because of this, performance also increased when they gave that control back to the workers. So now, it's not always the amount of hours that takes a toll on IT workers. Sometimes it's the added responsibility or the added workload that they are expected to take on. And a lot of times IT workers can have the responsibility to take on multiple roles. They can, at one given time, they can be asked to act as project managers, engineers, technicians, know about security, understand the cloud, and even work in customer service all at the same time. So it's a constant struggle to try to keep up with everything, to try to keep taking on this responsibility, learn about it, apply it, and make sure that they're able to keep going. Now, a study showed that it indeed was not the hours, but it was the responsibility that caused a decrease in mental well-being and in mental health. It showed that it was reported that the hours that they actually felt that they were working, they were being productive. It was the added responsibilities that just kept growing and changing on them that was causing them to not feel that they were up to the job, that they couldn't do it, that they just couldn't keep up, or they couldn't know enough. And that caused a lot of depression, which of course led to not as much effort, and then of course decreased performance. Now, another study showed that by increasing self-efficacy, depression can be decreased. So this study was actually done with a large group of college students who were taking on a large course load while working and starting to feel a lot of depression, thinking that they just weren't good enough, they couldn't handle it, they couldn't hack it, they couldn't do it. And by having coaching, they were able to go through self-efficacy training, and that way they were able to build their self-efficacy up, which showed a negative relation with depression. So while these were college students who were working and going to school, I believe this can be, and I would like to see it more generalized and applied to the workforce, where more coaching can be applied to the workers, and they can have an active partnership with a direct supervisor or a mentor or someone that they can lean on and trust that can help build that self-efficacy up and lower that depression and in turn increase performance. Now, the world of technology and working in IT is extremely competitive. We're always looking to be bigger, be better, be faster, be smarter, create the next big thing. And that takes a toll on a lot of people because everyone's trying to be the next one. And there's always someone who's ready to take your place at any given time. Because technology is always changing. As we said, you're always trying to keep up. There's always someone else wanting to do, to create, to come up with something that's bigger and better. And what this can lead to is a lot of fear of becoming irrelevant in the field of technology. If someone comes in that knows something more than you or has something better to offer than you, you can feel replaceable, and you can feel expendable, and you can feel a lot of anxiety as a result of that, a lot of anxiety, uncertainty, a lot of job insecurity about if someone else that knows more than me comes in and takes my place, what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to move forward? Will I find another job? How do I get rid of these feelings of anxiety? And what one study showed was that, of course, job insecurity is bad for workers and for companies. This type of anxiety-ridden thought process and feelings are terrible for workers, lead to a high amount of stress, which of course is terrible for the workers and the companies together. And when we talk about trust, we talk about that organizational trust in that the worker can believe in the company they work for. They believe in the people in the company that they work for. A lot of times trust can be diminished if they feel like they're being treated unfairly, if they believe someone else is being treated unfairly, if they feel like they're not being communicated with properly. And organizational trust, justice in those cases. But what this study showed is that creating an environment of trust where the worker can believe in the company that they work for, and especially in the people that they work for. This can be is linked to better mental health overall, including anxiety, which show better creativity, and of course, better performance. Now, from a biblical worldview or perspective, and some of my own personal thoughts based on empirical studies, is I know I put a lot of emphasis on leadership here, and for good reason. An area of leadership that I'm very passionate about studying, is adaptive leadership, which adaptive leadership is all about change. It's all about welcoming change, being able to take a step back, being able to look at everything that's going on, being able to persevere through the change. But not only that, it's about helping others, helping followers through changes and difficult times as well. A study, it's not a recent study at this time, it's getting fairly old now, but basically it was saying that the mentors, the leaders would take followers in or take proteges in during times of change, during times of organizational crisis. When they would do that and they would help these others, it was a stress management for them as well as their followers, as the ones who looked up to them. So it wasn't just that they were helping others just to help others. It was actually stress management during times of change and crisis for them as well. And we can find a lot of the verses in Scripture about this, including one in Romans 15:1, where it states, "We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves." And that is exactly what adaptive leadership attempts to do. It's about understanding, growing, building yourself up during times of change and challenges and difficulties, but also reaching out and helping others, and it's going to help everyone involved. Now, also, we put a lot of emphasis on environment, and really the biblical perspective behind that can be found in Hebrews 10:24 and 25, where it says, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another." And that's about creating that environment. That's about putting people in a place that inspires hope, that's going to inspire creativity, that's going to get rid of those stressors that may be taking place in our lives, and it's going to help build performance, that self-efficacy that we talked about and moving forward. So in conclusion, as we've seen, the technology field is a world that is built on change. And when there's change, there's going to be stress. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. There's really no way around it. As things continue to change and progress and move and build and grow, there's going to be stress that are put on those who are up to the task to keep it moving forward. But this is a collaborative enterprise. And I think a lot of people forget that. It's not just someone putting together some code or someone working late to build a firewall and stuff like that. These are actual people with feelings, with emotions, with families, with lives. And I think that sometimes gets lost in the ether, if you will. And we have to keep in mind that these are actual human beings. And working together, I believe that through the right environments, through creating a more understanding premise of what it means to be an adaptive leader and putting people in proper places to be able to grow and learn and adapt, we will see a lot of that stress management, which will lead to better performance, better growth, and we will see it continue to move forward. So thank you. I appreciate your time. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Have a great day, and God bless.